Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a millennial. I'm a recovering millennial.
Hi, Brendan. I'm a festering millennial. Wallowing millennial.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
We've talked about this before, that millennials are no longer cool, and especially people like us who are on the older end of the millennial spectrum.
Right.
I mean, for a long time, I remember when we started doing the show, the audio version of this show in like 10 years ago, let's say. 10 years ago.
This particular podcast. I was thinking like 4 podcasts prior.
No.
Yeah.
But you were complaining that you didn't want to be considered a millennial because you felt like the millennials were, I think there was like this overlap of Zoomer and millennial, and you didn't want to be connected to the Zoomer portion.
Yeah, I think it was the Zoomer portion of millennial, but also I think it was the part of the millennials that were deemed to be like the quote unquote hipsters that I think a lot of the other generational groups in pop culture were sort of viewing the millennials as being like the beard oil, clap stomp music listening, craft beer brewing and making and stuff like that, put a bird on it type of shit and stuff like that.
What a sad little tote bag. I know, I'll put a bird on it. Did you see this bag before? I didn't. Now there's a bird.
A lot of like the millennial hipster, basically the hipsters that were kind of,
Alex,
I kind of thought that was part of the millennials, but I feel like they were also more like late Gen X or something like that. I could never quite put my finger on what age bracket the hipsters tend to be.
I mean, I was borderline hipster. You have to acknowledge that you were best friends with a borderline hipster. I mean, it depending on what your category of hipster was. I did not make craft beer or particularly drink craft beer, but
yeah, you didn't put bacon on everything.
No, okay, so maybe I wasn't.
That was
much
a big
of a
thing.
Hipster. I had a very large beard at one point. I had a man bun at one point.
Oh,
hey, that was my like peak form. I see photos back then, and I was like, that motherfucker's cool as hell. It was a good look, all right?
It's like, Daddy, why didn't his hair turn blonde? Well, all it does is just knot on top of the head.
Well, it also like my hair, but that's a whole other. Anyway,
you look better now.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Speaking of being uncool,
yeah.
The Guardian has an article that you sent along to me that feeds directly into this, which is
The Guardian.
Cringe: How Millennials Became Uncool.
Yes.
They are mocked by Gen Z for everything from their trainer socks to their mom. Wait, mocked by Gen Z? For everything from their trainer socks to their mom jeans and selfie technique. A maligned millennial asks, how did we get here? I'm confused already by this article.
Objection.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll do it like Phoenix Wright. Objection! Objection! The mom jeans are being worn by the Gen Zers.
Sustained. Also,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are trainer socks the ones that you pull up to like your knees?
Ankle socks.
Oh,
I think those are what the
socks?
the ankle socks, like the low cut ankle socks are, because I don't really see, and this is based upon my experience on a college campus, I very rarely saw college kids wearing like the type of socks that were normally associated with people going to gyms and working out. They tend to be the ones that are more like the pull up longer socks.
That's what I was going to say, is that I associate, I don't wear either. I wear crew socks, and I've always worn crew socks.
Yeah, the crew ones. I feel like trainer socks, that term specifically, is more of a brick bong terminology for that. Because I think I've always heard of them as just being referred to as like athletic socks. Mom jeans, those are 20-something jeans. Because it's really weird to see a person that's like 21, 22 wearing those jeans and thinking that they're flattering. And I'm like, our moms wore those back in the 90s from Dress Barn, and they never looked flattening. Flattering. Because it was also worn by women that were like in their like, after a couple kids and they were starting to hit in their 40s. I mean, there was additional things going on, but they just make everybody look like your mom.
my thing is that we grew up through the, let's say, Levi's 501 straight jeans. We grew up through the Levi's boot cut. I'm just using Levi's as the generational. So like early 90s to like the 90s, let's say, are like the straight cut regular jeans, the 501s. Yeah. Nothing going on, just a straight pant leg. Then you get into like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and that's boot cut jeans. Everyone was wearing boot cut jeans till like 2005, right? Mm-hmm. Then you've got skinny jeans for the duration since. Now we're coming back around to the like big, thicker jeans or like wider leg jeans.
Flare, like Jinko, not quite Jinko, but I wouldn't put it past them that they get there eventually.
So I was looking for shirts on Gap.com today.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean, uh-oh?
Are you starting to show your age on there?
I buy Gap all the time. I've been buying Gap since I was in high school. No, stop. Go back to one of these guys. So like, look at these pants. Big pants.
Big pants for a big man.
These are like pretty wide leg pants. And like they kind of look like mom jeans or like 90s jeans.
I was about to say, I feel like this is a guy that's he's doing something in that new thing called the internet, the World Wide Web. He's got a .com. He's helping invest in.
Right.
He's got some backing money.
He's going to start wearing blazers with a t-shirt.
It's I think this thing's going to go places. Yeah, Do
you want to invest in his e-commerce site?
What does your website do? It's like, well, we're going to name it. It's very unique. It's called pets.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny that millennials who lived through all of these styles, by and large, from what I see, and myself included, are sticking with the skinny jeans. Probably until they die. Like they like everyone's I mean, and I don't mean like the super like extremely tight jeans, not like tight jeans, but like just a snugger leg than that. Right?
Yeah, not like the emo skinny jeans.
No, sure.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to me though that it's like millennials are not gravitating back towards the looks that were popular when they were kids. They're just sticking with the more tailored look on everything.
Yeah, because we're also hitting that age where it's like we look ridiculous doing that. And a lot of millennials, including some of the younger Gen Xers, that kind of dress up with some of that clothing. You're just like, you're an adult. Stop dressing like John Cena.
It's funny because at 40 years old, if I wore the jeans that I wore when I was 14, I would look like a try-hard weirdo.
Yeah.
Like it would look like I was trying to be young.
Yeah.
Not that I was wearing the same pants I've been wearing my entire life.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you remember the kind of clothing I used to wear back when we were teenagers. What do you think that would help me in any way, shape, or form? No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, it was.
Hey, there are some pictures from high school of shirts that I had on where I'm like, well, how did did this happen?
Right.
Why did Mom? What were you letting me do?
Yeah. Especially since a lot of those stores like don't even exist or are on life support at this juncture and stuff like that.
You know what's funny about? We'll actually talk about this article in a second.
Okay.
But like, I always, I associated Old Navy with me being like 13 years old, and so it was always in my head. It was always like, oh, this is where like teeny boppers and like young high schoolers go and get like essentials and stuff. I was looking. I needed a certain colored Oxford shirt, and I was like, I wonder if they have them at Old Navy. And so I drove over there on Saturday and walked in and was like, this is where 40-year-old women shop, apparently.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was so popular with our age bracket.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when you think about it, like you never really see elderly people shopping for clothes. They just kind of have whatever clothes were still in their closet like 30 years ago, and they just go with it.
Yes.
One pair of pants later.
Back to this article.
Yeah, let's go down there.
How millennials like Brendan became uncool. Let's close the gap.
Somehow, I'm immune to the uncoolness.
Well, you see,
We're going to talk about.
Once you have kids, it doesn't matter. Your life is over.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to be cool. Once you're married and have kids, you don't have to be cool. You don't have to make people. You don't have to impress anybody anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's just like get these kids to their 18 without any major catastrophes in you. That's all you've got to worry about. Mm-hmm. Would you like to read this article, Senpai?
Yeah, sure. I'll start off. This is written by, what's this Bint's name? Chloe Hamilton. And she writes, her right to a naked ankle is, in the end, the hill that Natalie Ormond is willing to die on. Ormond, a millennial, simply will not get her head around Gen Z's fondness for a crew sock, pulled up over gym leggings or skimming bare legs, brazenly extending over the ankle towards the lower calf. Quote, I stand by trainer socks and I won't budge, says the 43-year-old. The more visible the sock, the better.
Okay, so maybe I've been too harsh on Gen Z, because apparently my sensibilities still run towards them. Like I just said, I buy crew socks. I don't wear shorts though, so I don't pull up the sock. It doesn't make any difference. It's just there to keep my ankle warm.
Right. I have both crew and non-crew socks, trainers or athletic socks.
Ankle socks,
and I just
think,
feel
is the easiest.
I feel like I'm not growing up in the 70s and I don't need to wear like the crew socks pulled up with shorts.
See, okay, here's how you know I definitely was a hipster in college. Okay. I had so much shit from American Apparel, it's embarrassing. I had all the underwear, I had the track jackets, I had the t-shirts, I had the polo shirts, I had everything. I had a ton of shit from American Apparel when I was like 23 years old. And I love American Apparel still.
Do you think the Zoomers know what American Apparel is?
They have no idea what I'm talking about, and they would definitely be offended that anyone who does know that what American Apparel was will be offended that I still endorse it because the guy who ran it was a scumbag.
Dove Charney.
There we go. Which was the subject of one of the premiere episodes.
You think he's going to get mentioned in the Diddy trial?
Ooh. No, I don't think he was that cool.
Oh, right. Diddy or Dove?
Dove.
All right. Continuing on, a proclivity for socks hidden within low-top trainers is just one reason why millennials, anyone born between 81 to 96, are now considered achingly uncool by the generation that came next, Gen Z, aka the Zoomers or Zillennials, according to countless TikTok. Here's my thing. Zillennials, wouldn't those be technically the people from like that transition period?
Yeah, it'd be like 97, 98, 99, 2000.
Okay, because then like since we're the older millennials, we would have been called like Zillennials.
Just
like XILL.
No, I know, we're also Zillennials.
Okay, but I didn't think that like they had something like that equivalent for the Zoomers. Maybe they do now. I don't know.
I mean, this isn't like a science, Alex. There isn't a consortium. There isn't a consortium that defines this stuff.
According to countless TikTok videos, other sources of derision for the generation that first popularized social media, millennial pink and pumpkin spice lattes are their choice of jeans. Skinny and mom jeans are out. Baggy hipsters are in.
Okay, but the thing is that mom jeans are still I see them being worn by Zoomers all the time.
Yeah, I feel like Zoomers were the ones that popularized them again. Yeah. So you can't put this on millennials.
Millennials are definitely in the skinny, regular, let's say, like I said, the 501s. We're going to go by Levi's numbers. 501s, 510s, 511s, and 512s are millennial categories right now.
Yeah. We have an obsession with avocado on toast.
Okay.
Gen Z's equivalent is Gen Z's green grub of choice is matcha.
That's millennials. What the fuck? Millennials started, well, not started, but millennials adopted matcha super early. What are they talking about? You could get matcha, you could get green. Haagen-Dazs had green tea ice cream in 2000 12.
Their excessive use of the crying laughing face emoji. For a Zoomer, the skull emoji indicates humor, representing phrases such as "I'm dying with laughter." And the millennial pause, a brief moment of silence at the start of millennials' video or voice note, thought to be because, and this really does make them sound ancient, they like to check the device they're using is actually recording.
This is very weird.
Millennials typically self-deprecating tend to join in poking fun of themselves under the hashtags like millennials of TikTok. How old is this woman?
Well, it's weird to me because
she was born in 91.
All of this is doing is making Zoomers sound like idiots who are very confused and lost and don't understand that half of the stuff they think is theirs, millennials came up with or popularized on their own. Right. It's like, I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what to tell you, but you're doing the stuff that we were doing in 2010. We are at a cultural dead end. You might say that culture is doomed. You might say that we're in a state of culture doom.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, here's the thing. I would have to agree with that statement because I don't feel like millennials really try to take claim of anything that Gen X were known to have.
Not Gen X, but like there was like actually, now that I think about it, this would have been Gen X doing it. Gen X did a bit of like taking from the 70s. Like I feel like Gen X was wearing bell bottoms for a while, but like skinny jeans were kind of a 70s thing. The millennials did it a little bit differently, a little bit more updated, but it was kind of based on the style of like Magnum PI was wearing skinny jeans, you know?
Yeah. So I agree. He was also wearing those sweet shorts.
Hey,
but Magnum was a baby boomer though.
When I was 23 and tight and I'm part of why I liked those the aesthetic of American Apparel was it did have that 70s thing going on, and I had my short shorts and my t-shirts. I didn't wear them in public. I was wearing like, you know, jeans and stuff, but like when I was hanging out with my girlfriend, I've seen pictures of like Jackie Chan in the 70s, like on his couch with these super short shorts on, and I was like, that's the look I was going for, was Jackie Chan in the 70s.
Jackie Chan in the 70s. Continuing on, all of which is to say that in recent years, millennials, the former hip young things that once seemed so cutting edge when cast side by side with the out-of-touch baby boomers and the random, rather nondescript Generation X, have become, well, a bit cringe. Okay, counterpoint. I think it's already gotten to the point where saying cringe itself is cringe. I'm like, we need to put a kibosh on that thing. It's been done to death.
I will
Stop
say
beating
that
the horse.
I will say that a millennial or anyone saying cringe is very uncool, very cringe, very embarrassing. Oh no, cringe.
I say this as an uncool millennial myself. Born in 1991, so she's already going to be at least 8 years younger than us. So on the much younger side of the millennial, or the younger side of millennials. I, like many millennials, remember a time before tech took over. I didn't get a phone, mobile, not smart, until I was in my final year of secondary school, which is high school. So she would have been 10 years old in 2001.
English don't get to determine what's cool or not anyway.
No, you lost an empire. You have no opinions on anything.
Submit.
I wasn't on Facebook, then a social media site populated by my friends rather than my friends' mums, until I was at sixth form.
Oh, this is like all gobbledygook now.
We don't speak that zip zap here in the colonies.
I was asking Liz because we were talking about the letter Z, and I was like, if somebody said how do you spell Z, they'd say ZED. What the does that mean? What's happening here?
Yeah, and I was until sixth form, and remember when Netflix used to post out physical DVDs.
This is a collection of English vernacular to upset me. It's just, I think that's why you sent me this article. just to get me in trouble with our English friends.
Yeah. Okay. Good. She remembers when they used to have physical DVDs on. Yeah. Okay. I did too because I'm older than you as a millennial.
Well, it's not a competition.
I'm an advanced
senpai.
millennial.
Did you say you're an advanced millennial?
I'm an advanced millennial. But being a millennial, I'll go back up.
Sorry.
But being a millennial hasn't always been easy. We've been called lazy, entitled, and overly sensitive. I think that's about every generation. That label gives.
Yeah, but Zoomers are lazy, entitled, and overly sensitive.
It's true. Older generations have typically ignored the reality of stagnant wages, student debt, and rising house prices and blamed our apparent poor financial habits and pension for brunch for being unable to get on the property ladder. I do know that brunch is something that's always been associated with our group.
I think that's just white people.
I think so, because I never did anything that was brunch that outside of Mother's Day.
I mean, I remember going to Shoney's for brunch, for the brunch buffet, but I don't know that qualifies as being necessarily like highfalutin.
No, this is like highfalutin.
I was part of the white trash brunch.
White trash brunch.
No, and I'll go one step further. Brunch in this context, white women.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. That drink their pumpkin lattes.
No woman realistically can get me out to brunch more than twice in the course of our relationship. It's like you want me to get up early on Saturday to go sit with a bunch of people and eat between breakfast and lunch when I could just wait a little.
That doesn't
longer
actually exist.
and get the food that I actually want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a breakfast food guy.
Brunch is not a real meal,
person.
just like Montessori isn't a real education system.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No.
Montessori? I don't know what you're doing. The high school? Oh, you're making a jokey joke.
That's an inside jokey joke.
Yeah, well, she didn't ever try to get me to go to brunch, to be fair.
I don't think how long have we known each other? In the 20 years Erica and I have been together, I don't think we've ever gone to brunch together. We might go to like a late breakfast, but we never go to
Hold on to her.
Because she'll be like, "What's brunch?" I'm like, "It's some Hobbit talk." I'll confess that being part of a generation that felt so progressive compared with its predecessors, bridging the gap between analog and digital, felt significant, essential, and yes, bloody cool, actually. It's a shock then to wake up one morning and realize you've been usurped.
Have we?
We do have a monarchy.
Have we, though?
Well, they have. Some millennials are digging their heels in, resistant to their new status. 37-year-old Lily Sajani feels particularly affronted. It's ridiculous. We have been judged by the younger generation who think they have invented everything, she says. But really, they are just wearing what we wore in our teen years. It's kind of true, actually.
It's true. I was going to say she sounded like a boomer, but it's also true.
Yeah, Sajani says that she first felt uncool when she was scrolling TikTok, an app invented by Millennial, incidentally, and saw that being born before 92 was considered old. There's definitely an unspoken but sometimes spoken competition between the generations on TikTok. And yes, I do feel old when I've been on it, she says, before adding in a very millennial way, but my dogs have gone viral a few times. Well, then get off TikTok.
I mean, you shouldn't be on TikTok at all because
You shouldn't be on Facebook either at this point.
No, well, you should have never been on Facebook.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be on TikTok because it's an operation by the CCP to usurp Western civilization.
Don't trust China.
So I've heard. China is asshole.
You could just put him here into this segment now.
Don't trust China. China is asshole.
I also love his shades too, because he's like they have retinal recognition.
Yeah, it's like I mean that was Hong Kong, so that would have been like true Blade Runner.
Yeah,
super Blade Runner inspired, like genuinely Blade Runner. But like. Okay, sorry to disappoint you, but 40 plus is old. Like, there's no way around that. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just the situation. Now, you don't have to be uncool after 40. You can be a cool 40-year-old.
Yeah. You could be Karl Lagerfeld.
You could be Karl Lagerfeld. I mean, that's you're setting the target for, like, pretty high high goals there. I was thinking more like you're a cool English professor in high school is what I was thinking of.
Oh.
No, not literally you. The hypothetical, you're a cool English teacher in high school. Not you.
Not us?
Not us. Not our cool
English teachers?
Did we have a cool English teacher in high school?
No.
One of our poor English teachers in high school is crying right now. He's like, I've been waiting for this. Anyway. I don't know where I was going with any of that.
Okay. In fact, much of the ire provoked by Gen Z's teasing is driven by a sense that the young generation are merely jumping on a cool and trendy bandwagon to be built by millennials. We paved the way for Gen Z to be killing it on TikTok with our crappy MySpace accounts and MSNing each other from our university bedrooms, says 41-year-old Lizzie Cernick, who believes millennials have a strong work ethic and are tough cookies. Meanwhile, Orman, the trainer sock fan, set up a sustainable family shop in Smalkind in 2019 and is keen to stress that Gen Z, famously environmentally conscious, had their eco-friendly way paid for them by millennials who got there first.
Okay, it's funny reading this because I just saw how like everyone's freaking out about net zero and that because they after like Spain and Portugal just like hit a week without electricity.
Yeah.
And now they're all like, what was that whole wind and solar plan again?
Yeah, so much about nuclear power. But when did this discernible shift from cool to uncool happen? Cernick posits that the pandemic was the turning point. Many older millennials, myself included, were coming to the end of our party era around the time. In 2019?
I believe this. I turned 40 during COVID. I mean, 2023 would have been...
Well, it killed basically nightlife. Like social life.
I just mean that the end of my 30s was COVID, which was the end of my coolness. So I lost the last 2 years of going out and having fun. And then I became old, and now nobody wants to go out and have fun with me anymore.
I want to go out and have fun with you.
But you made the mistake of having a successful, productive life. And...
Are we talking job-wise?
No, I'm talking like life.
Oh, family, yeah.
Fulfilling
I stopped being
lifestyle.
cool when I got married.
Well, you're always cool, Alex. You're always cool to me.
James is still cool. He's always been cool.
I'm not. Look at me, I'm a millennial. I wear comic book shirts.
Big Bang Theory's still cool, right, guys?
Bazinga! Oh, God. I didn't get to mention this to you. They are trying to make yet another Office type of show called The Paper.
Okay.
They're trying to do it again.
On what? On TV? On broadcast television? Or what are we talking about?
Streaming or terrestrial. I don't know. I think Stephen Merchant's involved with it. It's like we're going to follow
it's literally
zany adventures of a newspaper company out in Toledo trying to survive in the modern era. It's like
Toledo. What the okay.
It's fucking stupid. Let's see. The pandemic accelerated that, and when we emerged from lockdown, Gen Z had taken over fashion culture with new trends. Yeah, but they were also locked down too.
Well, and also my position is that the younger millennials are f***ing up. You got to always be innovating. If you're under the age of 40, you should still be owning the Zooms. Like you should be able to you should be able to outcool the Zoomers if you're under the age of 40.
Yeah.
A bunch of 40-year-olds I know are outcooling Zoomers right now. So I'm like
Karl Lagerfeld.
Karl Lagerfeld's dead, my buddy. Did you
still doing it from the grave?
Still outpacing the Zoomers. Zoomers are notoriously like weak-willed and limp-wristed, so it's pretty easy to outpace them. I'm just saying.
Beauty editor and influencer Laura Pearson, who is 40 but claims she feels no older than 25.
I mean, maybe spiritually and emotionally, but I was just thinking
emotionally. I
was thinking to myself, man, I was editing really hard today because I can feel my legs hurt, and that means that I was sitting literally on the edge of my seat all day with the hard edge, and I can feel where it was digging into my thighs now. And I was like, that's not something a cool millennial would say. I was sitting so hard today that my legs hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Alex.
No, I sometimes wake up and my ankles or my knees hurt, like
from sleeping too hard.
Sleeping. What I need, I'm not allowed to enjoy. She says the shift was during COVID. The internet had been my space before, and now there was this whole wave of new people with no experience or credibility being able to build careers on Instagram and TikTok. Again, TikTok. Still, Pearson, who adds that she stays relevant by surrounding herself with Gen Z friends, says she refuses to be defined by a word. If someone is embarrassed by being a millennial, they're giving a word far too much power. You just did that, lady.
Don't hang out with young people. You look weird. It's better to be alone than hang out with young people. I had a pet Zoomer. He was a great pet. He taught me a lot of things that I needed to know about what Zoomers thought.
Yeah.
But we went out with a bunch of people one night after work, and everyone kind of left, but we were the old late night guys, and we were sitting there.
He couldn't
together.
drink because he was 19.
Yeah, he was 19. He was my ride home actually, and I was like, looky here. I was like, we can't be friends, dude. I'm like, I'm too old to be your friend, dude. We cannot be friends. He was like, no, you're cool. And I was like, no, I'm not cool.
There's a movie made about this. It's called Lolita. It's not going to work.
No, it's like, isn't it like the under what's the movie with Timmy Chalamet? The smell of your breath. No.
Oh, okay.
The look of your
Blue
eyes.
is the warmest color.
Blue is the warmest color. That's the lesbian one. That's getting censored. That's one of those things that you can't even acknowledge that exists. It's like just knowing what it is. It's like, no. Timothy Chalamet is famous for what? It's all just pictures of him now. Never mind.
He's such a. Did you notice how he's got that weird gaunt face? He's got like the bucolic fat taken out.
Yeah, I mean that's just like the cheekbones. I don't think I think that's natural. Call me by your name, not the smell of your breath. Although that would be a different kind of movie. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, so finishing up here. Of course, generation bashing is nothing new. In fact, one could argue it's yet another thing millennials invented, coining in the late 2010s the phrase "okay, boomer."
I thought that Zoomers made that up. I'm so confused.
I think she's pulling shit out of her
because
ass
I thought
here.
it was like Zoomers saying that to millennials.
Yeah,
that's the whole okay boomer thing, was that millennials aren't boomers, but we're old enough that they consider us boomers.
Yeah, to dismiss attitude. Yeah, so it's like, she gaslighting? You wrestling the Jimmies? But inevitably, this latest generation warfare fought by the two cohorts most comfortably online has been very public battleground, the internet.
No, there's a lot more. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
So
but that's basically the gist of it.
Okay, is there something about Google in here that I'm supposed to look at? That's the other article.
That was the other article.
Okay,
but it basically sounds like a lot of this is a bunch of just petty stupidity that's just being fought over, honestly, social media, as much as they don't want to talk about that stuff. I've also noticed that most of that pretty much all the people that they were talking to in this article happen to be women. So I don't know.
Okay, can you imagine
feel like
any
this is
other?
Just like, yeah.
No other men besides us are going to give any kind of attention to this topic. Can you imagine trying to discuss this with a 40-year-old man?
Oh, the circle of husbands that my wife is friends with their wives.
Yeah, well.
You know what? I can honestly do that this weekend.
Yeah, bring it up at the D&D meeting. Hey, hello, fellow friends.
You know. I know we're fighting what is it? What creature are we fighting right now?
Dragons.
It's not a progenitor. Yeah, we'll say it was like a fire snake or something like that.
It's a dragon.
Yeah, I'd be like, you know what? Anybody feel kind of weird, like a boomers? Although two of them are probably Gen X, and then me and the Dungeon Master are both millennials. So.
No, you're all just nerds to me.
Yeah, there's one Zoomer, and I think the other person's kind of like a late millennial, sort of. Yeah, so, yeah. That'll go over well.
Yeah, they'll love it.
Just roll. What are you doing? What's your character doing?
I got kicked out of D&D Club, Brendan.
I was talking about
TikTok. Yeah, just bringing up. Do you guys feel bad about your skinny jeans, and does TikTok make you feel insecure?
Yeah,
Tell me more about your feelings, guys.
I never got to do anything with skinny jeans, mostly because my lower torso looks like that of Jennifer Lopez, so it's a little difficult for me to be able to fit into skinny jeans without making some head swivel on a spindle down there on Belmont.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
I
tried to talk you into some updated cuts, updated pant cuts, jean cuts.
I did them. I had them. Yeah.
Past tense.
I'm safe in my Wrangler dad jeans now.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Well, say everyone, you can. It's all it is the only way to be cool after the age of 40 is to just not care. Yeah, do what you like, do what you're comfortable with, and don't obsess over being young. And what I mean is that if you enjoyed things like. If you enjoyed anime when you were 20 and you're 40, you're still allowed to enjoy anime. And don't listen to people who are like, that's for like teenagers. What are you doing watching anime? Just to be like, yeah, I like anime. What do you want from me? Yeah. You know,
getting
be comfortable in your own skin, people.
It would be funny getting lectured about anime coming from somebody who's like a diehard like Marvel fan that goes and sees that shit all the time. You know, it's just like, and that's another thing. It's like this intersparring and kind of like nitpicking amongst even our own generation and stuff like that.
Yeah, do Zoomers like the MCU? I don't know.
I don't think so, because it's not really registering. Yeah, I think most of that stuff appealed more so to they might have been into it when they were younger, but I don't think there's a sustaining connection to it as opposed to maybe with our group. I think most of the stuff that's kind of who it's meant to appeal to. Or even I know that they're making currently another live action He-Man film. And the question is, who exactly is this going to appeal to? Because it's definitely not going to be the younger millennials or anybody after that. So it's got to be our age and older. Definitely going to be the Gen Xers, and really, do the Gen X people even care about that anymore? Right. You know, there are some of those that are collectors, and they still get into that. But you know, when you watched it when you were a kid, and you kind of just fell off.
According to IndieWire, just 19% of the Marvels audience was 18 to 24 years old.
Yeah.
So, not that the Marvels was a huge success.
No.
Nobody went to see that.
But I would kind of say
that of the nobody, most of them were not Zoomers.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody really younger than that even really got dragged by their parents to go and see that movie, because they'd sit there and could be like, I have no idea who any of these people are. It's like, where's Thor? Where's Hulk? Where's Iron Man? Like, that was kind of the problem. It was. I think that was before like Infinity or Endgame.
Wait, the Marvels?
Yeah. Oh
no,
that was after. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking you were saying Eternals. Well, they wouldn't have known.
No, not the Eternals.
But yeah, I think after Endgame, like kids were just done. Like they're like, meh, and they haven't been able to get that audience back because they've moved on to different things.